How is everybody doing? I hope everybody's doing amazing. I truly appreciate every single one of my motivators family. I am Marlene Motivates. I am your channel for motivation, inspiration, and positivity. I do lives over here on Mondays and on Fridays, and we talk about motivational topics or some real life issues that we need to talk about, confront, and face. I talk about inspiration, motivation, and positivity. So today on the show, we're going to be talking about crying out for help because of vices. Now, I don't know what could be some vice that maybe you or somebody that this one is serious in nature. So I have to say trigger warning. Some people may be triggered by this content. And I want to say that, first of all, starting off by talking about some vices. Hey, Shay, how are you doing? Welcome. Appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. So we know that there are people who are crying out for help because of vices, and we don't know what the vice that everybody can have. Everybody has different vices, but the whole thing about a vice is something that it's a practice or a behavior or a habit that's usually morally wrong, something that people get vices in order to cover up pain, trauma, difficulties, things that we don't want to face. And I want to say that there is help. There is help for everybody. We don't have to stay in this negativity. We don't have to stay in whatever the pain that we're causing ourselves. Most times we are carrying around all of these issues, sometimes from our childhood, something that maybe your parent did to you, or maybe something that in a romantic relationship or a friend, people do things to hurt us, and we are calling out for help. We need help. We're seeking help. But we develop these vices in order to cope with this life, right? So we're going to talk about what some of those vices are. So one of the most common vices that people get is the vice of getting involved with some sort of alcohol abuse, alcohol addiction. And it may start off very casually, just a casual drink, going for drinks with friends, hanging out, having a little wine, a little beer, a little this to relax. And then next thing, you need a little more until it turns out that you can't stop, that all you want to do is drink alcohol. Now, don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with having alcohol. Everything always in moderation. Nothing's wrong with it. But when you have to have it, even if it's a little bit, if you can't go one day without something, then you have an addiction. And I have seen the effects of what it does to families, what it does to parents, what it can do if you overconsume the alcohol. I've seen people who have ruined their entire life. I know people right now that are incarcerated because they couldn't put the bottle down and they got into a car drunk driving and hit somebody, and they're going to be in prison for the rest of their life because they couldn't go and get help for an addiction to alcohol. And other people, that vice of having an alcohol addiction can harm their family by, being angry, yelling and screaming, being verbally abusive to your children, to your spouse or significant other. And these people, they are crying out for help. They want help. They need help desperately. And that's one of the reasons why I do these conversations. I am not a therapist. I'm not a doctor. I'm just a counselor. I'm a counselor and a life coach. And I come up with these topics because of what I've seen in my day-to-day when I speak to other people. And I see that it's a problem right now that a lot of people are hiding behind vices instead of confronting the issue and getting to, why do I even have these vices? Why am I using things to cover up what I'm dealing with instead of confronting it? So we're going to talk about about that a little bit. So first, we started talking about the alcohol addiction. And, like I said, there's many addictions out there, but another addiction can be the substance abuse. This is something that a lot of people really don't, want to talk about. Whether it's ourself, whether it's a friend, a family member that has an addiction to a substance, and that substance could be pills. The substance could be, what is it called? Like, there are things that a person can be addicted to that is way more than just the norms in society. Some people have an addiction to eating things that are not really what we're supposed to eat, like addiction to eating toilet paper. And there's a lot of things. And I'm saying this, there's no judgment over here. Hey, Nolan's girl, how are you doing? Welcome. I appreciate you being here. If you could hit the like, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you so much. There's a lot of people who are addicted to things that they don't want to talk about. I've seen many things in my years of social work and working in healthcare in general that people have addiction to eating certain things. Some people are addicted to drinking mouthwash and eating toilet paper. And it may sound strange or weird to you or us, but people develop these habits and then they cannot stop themselves from doing these said things. So another thing is substances. So it could be pills, it could be sometimes even the addiction comes from being in maybe a car accident. Something happened to you where you're in a painful situation and you needed to start taking some pills in order to cope, and then you can't stop taking the pills, and then it becomes an addiction. So like I said from the beginning of this discussion, I'm not here speaking with judgment. I'm not judging anybody. Anybody can get into a situation to where they go through something, it's harmful, it's hurtful, it's traumatic, and then you don't know what to do. You don't know what to do next. You don't know how to cope with your life. So of course you may start drinking, you may start smoking, you may start some form of habit that is not good for ourselves. So let's also talk about some other things, some other vices that people can get into. And this is one that a lot of people really don't think about as an addiction, but it really is. Many people are addicted to food. And, just like the alcohol, food could be a social thing. First like with your family, your loved ones, you like, okay, I'll have this, and you feel like you have to eat, and then you start overeating and you can't stop it. And I'm speaking on both sides of the spectrum. I never had an addiction to overeating, but I have had an addiction to not eating. For about 2 to 3 years of my life, I had an eating disorder, and that was anorexia nervosa. Nolan's girl says, I'm addicted to eating and I'm having trouble losing weight. Well, we're here for you, Nolan's girl, with support. No judgment here. Hi, Prince Daniel. How are you doing? Welcome. Like I said, food addiction, it can go on both sides of the spectrum. It can be from a person who eats a lot to a person who eats nothing. And a lot of people don't understand that that is an addiction, because if there is something that you cannot control, then you need to get some help with it. There's no judgments here. I do these conversations because I want you all to understand that it's okay. And we have to give ourselves permission to say, you know what, I really do need help. I will always advocate for therapy, because I know if it wasn't for therapy, great friendship, and loved ones, that I wouldn't be here. And on top of it, my spiritual focus helped me to get back on track to where I needed to get on track. You're dealing with heart failure. You need help. Please speak to someone. Try your best to speak to a doctor, a therapist. It really did. It really did make a big difference in my entire life. Hey, Von D, how are you doing? Right. Food can be sneakily addictive. It can, and that's why I'm saying it's something that you start off like, okay, I'm just gonna have a little bit of fried chicken, and then next thing I have a pizza, and then next thing you see, you've eaten the whole pizza, or you've drinking a whole 2 liter of soda, or and it just, and you just keep going until you can't stop. So, like I said, I'm not here judging anybody. And especially with all of the things that happened during the C19, I know that many people lost family, they lost friends. There was a lot of loneliness. I know a lot of relationships broke up during the C19, and nobody is talking about these things. It's a mental thing. And we can't just gloss over it like C19 didn't happen. We can't just act like there weren't issues in relationships with our relatives, with your spouse or significant other. Those things were happening way before C19. It's just that isolating forced us to confront issues that were right there in front of us. Yes, Nolans girl, junk food is addictive. Yeah, it starts off, well, I'll just have a little bit of popcorn. I just want some candy. Then you want fries. Then you want some ice cream. And it just keeps going on and on from there. And you know what I always say, everything in moderation. I'm not saying, oh, don't enjoy yourself. Don't have something that you eat. Everybody has some guilty pleasures, some things that they like to eat. Fondi says, I tried to exercise as much as I want to eat. Yes. Everything is about balance, but sometimes it gets to the point where we cannot cognitively handle, right? This. And we need some assistance in helping us to get on track to be balanced. And I know that many people, they grew up where the way they ate, the way they treated themselves was not good. You know, many people grew up in toxic environments. They've seen a lot, verbal, emotional, physical, and sexual abuse. You see that from your childhood. And for me, it made me go the opposite way. I didn't go to where I was overeating. I started undereating, actually not eating at all, if I'm going to be completely honest, and having an eating disorder, anorexia. I dealt with that from the age of 14 till I was 17 or 18 years old. And I hid it. I hid it from my family, and it also did many other things to me. So when we see people who have maybe a problem overeating, or a person who has a drinking problem or some sort of substance abuse, I am not reading it from a book. I'm telling you from my personal experience, I know that these vices are to cover up pain of unresolved issues from the past. So you got your mama, your daddy issues, relationship issues, a lack of acceptance, trauma, so much things that we do things, and we don't even know that we're doing these harmful things to ourselves. But we have to, either we're going to eat it out, we're going to drink, we're going to do something in order to get our mind off of it instead of confronting the issue. And I'm here to tell you, for many years, I hid it. I hid it from everybody. I hid it from myself. And you think that you're getting away with it. You think nobody can see it, but you see it. You know, we have to live with it every day. And if you have children, we have to think about, I want to be a good example to my child. Nolan's girl says, I started eating from family losses. Yeah, it's a very easy thing to do. It's a very easy thing to do, because when back in 2016, I found out that my father had cancer, prostate cancer, namely. And it was so hard for me to deal with that I had to start going back to therapy again, so I didn't go back into the habit of starving myself, because I'm the type of person, when I go through situations, I don't want to eat anything. I get really discouraged and sad, and I will literally starve myself. So I had to start going back to therapy again for a little bit when my dad got diagnosed with cancer. And then eventually when he passed away in October of 2016, I had to make sure that I stayed on track because it was very easy during that time when my dad passed away. I wanted to so easily reach out and grab a bottle of alcohol, or to start, just going into my own little bubble, because I felt like my pain was unbearable. And a lot of times, instead of talking about how we feel, because let's be honest, sometimes we don't have a positive support system. Most of the time, the people who are causing us pain are our own relatives, your own family, quote unquote. And while we care about our family, sometimes our family can be very toxic and be the reason why we have certain issues. But as adults, we have to assume responsibilities for ourselves. You got to be responsible for your own actions, and then say, this is what they've done, but now I need to start being healthier. Now I need to be responsible and stop blaming other people for what my life is. It's time for me to grow up and mature and say, I need some help. So that's why I wanted to do this conversation, to let you all know, if there's anybody out there and you feel that you're being crushed by the weight of loss, like Nolan's girl. It could be loss. It could be the things that you've seen, traumatic things, death. Some people go through start taking substances from the things that they've experienced in their life. Some people have been incarcerated. They've been in mental hospitals. Lots of things happen to people. People have been physically, emotionally, mentally, sexually abused. And like I said, trigger warning. But it's the reality of life. And as adults, we can't stop what has happened to us, but we can do something about it so that we can be happy, so that we can be healthy. I know for many years, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna cap or anything, but most of the time in communities of people who look like myself, we always want to pretend like we are okay, and we're not. We always want to deny the elephants in the room, the skeletons in the closet, all of the things that people have done. And we always want to be like, oh, this is a family secret. How many of us have had so much family secrets, and you're walking around and you're carrying all of the weight? And it's not our responsibility to keep all the family secrets. It's not your responsibility for the things that happen to you or traumas, but we cannot do things to keep hurting ourselves. We have to confront and face whatever that evil, whatever the trauma, whatever was harmful or hurtful for us. It's time for us to face what is the reason why I am getting into doing this, and this, and so that we can be our best self, so we can be happy and have peace of mind. Because you can say all the time, I've heard people say, I love myself, but if you truly loved yourself 100%, you would be willing to do things to help yourself and stop hurting yourself. And that includes what you allow. What type of relationships do you allow in your life? Do you allow people to stick around that are toxic to you, namely romantic relationships or your friendships, maybe your spouse or significant other, a friend? We could have people in our life, but it doesn't mean that they're good people. They're just users. It took a long time for me to come to the realization that I may love them, but they don't love me. They're just here to use me. They're just here to try to control me or get something from me. And I had to grow up. I had to grow up and assume accountability for my action, and ask myself, why do I allow people to use me? Why do I allow people to control me? And things that happened to me, I had to look at myself in the mirror and to say, I need some help. I need to talk to somebody. And I know that many people who look like me, or people who are minorities, or people who have been through certain situations, maybe coming from a low economic status and not having much, there's a lot of ignorance. There's a lot of, people look at you like you're weird because you need help. But we have to live in our own skin. And I had to come to that space that no matter what my family, no matter what friends, no matter what anybody had to say, I'm the one that has to live in my skin. I'm the one that has to be happy. And I knew when I had my eating disorder, I knew when I had certain self-harming habits. Like I went through many years of having depression. And I'm not saying this to say my situation is going to look like yours, but I know I can speak on depression. I can speak on having low self-esteem and having certain things in my life that I would do as a sort of way to make myself feel better. And I know that many people do. And I know I'm not the only person, but a lot of people are not woman enough or man enough to say, I had some problems. I had some issues. I had some things that happened to me, but I'm going to speak up and say, what happened to me wasn't right. But I can't keep blaming anybody else for the way my life is. If I'm not happy, now it's my choice to do something about it. And that's what I had to do for myself. I had to start making a choice to choose myself. I had to make a choice to love myself and to stop allowing other people to run over me. And that's why I said for a really long time, for about 3 years of my life, I had an eating disorder. And from time to time, I still kind of backslide and go into that when I feel like overwhelmed, really stressed out. I still go to where I kind of navigate to stop eating. And then I have to catch myself and say, that's not good. You know, you need to eat, get up and go and eat. But it so easily can happen with a person who, when they're going through something, they want to go and eat a lot. And like I said, this is not a judgment zone. I'm not judging anybody for what another person is going through and dealing with. Everybody handles stress different. Everybody handles trauma differently. But what this conversation is about the awareness, putting the awareness out there that if you need help, talk to somebody, and not just anybody. It can't just be somebody within your relatives, because you know, while I am a woman of faith, I'm a woman of faith, I believe, but at the same time, I needed more than just I believe. I needed something in real time that was going to get me motivated. And what I didn't know is I needed the tools. I needed the tools in order for me to be okay. And going through therapy gave me the tools in order to know what triggers me. Okay, this happens, and then automatically I don't want to eat. Automatically I feel like, oh, I just don't want to get out of bed. So we have to know ourselves, and we have to know who we are, and being honest enough to say, I'm going to take care of me, and I'm not going to allow a substance. I'm not going to allow a trauma. I'm not going to let what other people say bring me down a rabbit hole and make me feel like I'm nothing. I'm less than. And that's what happens to us, and we don't even know it's happening to us. Because I know for many years with dealing with, the loss of my father and my mother back to back in 7 months. My dad passed from prostate cancer in October of 2016. And then my mother passed away in May of 2017, followed by my aunt, followed by my brother. So I went through a spiral of things happening in my life where I was experiencing so much loss, plus on top of all of the traumatic things that happened from my childhood. And I don't know about you all, but I didn't grow up in an environment of feeling free to express myself. I grew up in a family situation where children were seen and not heard. You weren't allowed to share how you felt. You had to keep everything inside. And stuffing our pain, it leads to other things. If you can't communicate, if you can't talk about what you're dealing with and going through, you're going to find something that's going to make you feel better. And for some people, it's harmful habits such as substance abuse, alcohol abuse, food addiction. And it can get into this. In today's digital society, There's people who get into the sexual addiction. They get into feeling just hopping from relationship to a relationship. Now, like I said, there's no judgment. I'm not judging anybody, but it's something that can easily happen. And we don't even understand that maybe your mommy issues, your daddy issues, not feeling the love, getting the attention that you desperately needed and were searching for. It's easy to think, okay, this sex is going to make me feel better. And yeah, maybe for the moment, you may feel good, but then afterwards, you don't really feel so good about yourself. So it can get into that. And I know that many people have been hurt behind the pain of being in a relationship with somebody who is a serial cheater. And like I said, there's no judgments over here. I'm not telling anybody what to do. I just speak about things that I have talked about with clients and coaching and things that I have read about. But it's not something that a lot of people want to talk about, and with the being on the internet and having a device, a phone, it's very easy for people to get into an addiction with pornography. It's easy for people to get into relationships that is very toxic and unhealthy. Hi, Kelly. How are you doing? Welcome in. Appreciate you being here. Shout out to my mods. I so appreciate everybody who's in here. Please hit the like, everybody. It's very easy for people to get into addictions to pornography, get into addictions, sexual addictions, get into food addictions, alcohol abuse, substances. And like I said, I'm not here to judge anybody, but what it's all about, why I do this channel, is to let you all know that you don't have to suffer in silence. You don't have to suffer in silence. And this is not a place where I'm going to judge you and say, oh, you're a bad person. Sometimes the pain, the weight of so much things that has happened to us, that you just start doing certain things that's probably not the best thing for us to do. You get involved with the wrong people, and then they're doing certain drugs or substances, or you want the fast money. It's a lot of things that can happen. And especially if you don't have an environment that is a healthy environment at home, that you can talk about how you feel. And it is even more so when the people around you in your environment are toxic people, and they have their own vices, they have their own issues, and they make it even more difficult for you to live in the skin that you're in. But like I said, I know many people are crying out for help because of these vices. I know that a lot of people have substance abuses, alcohol abuse, food addiction, sexual addiction. And this is another one that I want to talk about because I've seen it recently when I do my social work and I go and I visit clients and I see things. It's hoarding. And we've seen shows, where it gets absolutely out of control. Now, hoarding can start just as simple from a person who loves to online shop. And I had to really pay attention because I would really be in that cycle. I had to stop myself from feeling that I always need something new. It's a very easy cycle. Oh, okay. I see this, I like it, and you buy it. I have the money, and you buy it. And the next thing, you have all of these clothing or whatever it is that is your thing that you like to buy. It's easy to get an addiction to shopping because you get that gratification every time you click that button. Every time you buy something, new shoes, new this, new outfit, new this, sneakers, whatever it is that you like to buy. It's easy to get into, and then it becomes out of control. To where you have nothing but boxes in rooms. It's not even opened. You have clothing or other items with the tags on it, and you're still buying more and more. And we've seen it on the TV shows where people have the hoarding habits. They can't stop. And it's more than just telling yourself, I need to stop. It's something where they need actual help from a therapist, a psychologist. Even some people need to get medication. Like I will always say, this is not a place, I'm not judging anybody. I even myself had to check myself. It's very easy to get into that habit of thinking you have to buy the newest phone. You got to have the newest this, you got to have the newest that because you want to be popular, you want to be liked. You want your family or your friends to feel like you're doing well, so you're trying to keep up with everybody, but then next thing you're swimming in debt. It's something easy to happen. It's something that has happened to me. Learning, I had to learn to live within my means. Hey, Jessica, how are you doing? Welcome. Appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. That's something that a lot of people just don't understand. Oh, thank you so much. I hope you're having a great day, Jessica. That's one thing that a lot of people don't understand is that we all go through something. We all go through situations, and life is not easy right now. It really isn't. Life is really hard for a lot of people. A lot of people are struggling financially. A lot of people are struggling mentally. A lot of people are struggling with things, and they're hiding it. But you can hide things from other people, but you certainly cannot hide it from yourself. Jessica says, absolutely. You always have some really interesting topics listening while cleaning. Thank you, Jessica. I appreciate it. Um, you can hide things from your family. You can hide things from your friends, but you can't hide things from yourself. You know, it's an easy thing to pretend. And I've said it many times. Oh, yeah, I'm doing okay. And you're not. You're not okay. And I wanted to say this to anybody who needs to hear, anybody who's watching live or listening in the background. If your mental health is not in a good space, please talk to someone, and not just a family member or a friend, but somebody who can give you real help, like a therapist. Somebody who can give you the tools that you need to overcome whatever it is that you're going through and dealing with. You're not alone. I want you all to know that. But sometimes we do feel alone, and we will put ourselves into this prison of our own doing. We put ourselves in this cage of pain, and we won't release ourselves from that because, number one, if you were like me and taught that you don't talk about your issues, you keep your business, you keep family business, you don't talk about it because you don't want to embarrass, you don't want to tell anybody, you don't want to let anybody know what's happening on in your house, you don't want friends or other people to judge you or to think something about your parents or your siblings or yourself or your spouse or significant other. But you don't want to do that. So people are so afraid about the judgment from others, and they would rather suffer. They would rather suffer for years and years on end. And I know for many years I suffered with so many things because I didn't want other people to look at me and be like, oh, she's weird. But if I'm suffering, I had to say, it's time for me to stop suffering. Who cares what another person thinks? I'm unhappy. I was dealing with depression, feelings of worthlessness, loneliness, sadness, especially after losing 5 family members in a period of 2 years. I was losing my mind, and I had to stop hiding that I was not okay. Jessica said, that's so true. When I haven't felt well in the past, I would isolate myself. I learned that makes things worse. And it does, Jessica. I hope that you're getting the help that you need. I hope you get the support and the love. It's the reason why I do these conversations, because I want other people to know we're not the only ones. You're not the only one that struggles. You're not the only one that goes through things. You're not the only one that feels hurt or sadness or depression, feelings of worthlessness or loss, especially grief or traumatic issues. If you've been through things in your life, maybe from your childhood or maybe just recently, you don't have to hide it. Hey, Wellness, how are you doing? Welcome in. I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Thank you, Kelly. Yes, please like and share this live stream. There's so many people who they hide it. I don't know who I'm talking to, but I feel like I'm talking to somebody in this. If you've ever been told, don't talk about family situations, that you take those things to the grave, that we don't talk about our issues, and especially things like domestic violence, um, sexual abuse, addictions. Maybe if a family member or a friend or somebody has an addiction to substances, those who have an alcohol problem, those who have eating disorders, hoarding issues, whatever the case may be, whatever the vice is. And there's hundreds of vices that a person can have. And like I said earlier, I'm not here to judge anybody and the vice that a person can have. But I want for us to have the open dialogue and the conversation and understand that it's okay. It's okay, because I'm human. This is part of my human experience. And part of my human experience is that I've gone through some situations. I've been through some traumas. I've shed some tears. People have abandoned me. And we can have abandonment issues. We can have those feelings of worthlessness and depression and some mental health issues. Even sometimes some people struggle with some mental illness. And it's okay if you're not thinking the right way. I say that all the time. It's okay to not be okay. You don't have to walk around with a plastic smile. You don't. You don't have to walk around smiling like, oh yeah, everything's okay, I'm perfect. And inside, it's crushing. It's such a heavy weight. It's time that we release ourselves from this bondage of pain and sufferation. It's time we stop acting like we're okay when that you experience traumas and pain. That you or somebody has an addiction, but we hide it. We hide the addictions and the things that happens within our family or people that we love, because we think by being silent that makes us a good person. We have to be loyal. Let's not talk about it. But when we do that, we stop them from experiencing personal growth. We stop them from not only their healing, but ours as well. Because when we hold that person's pain, we hold those secrets, we stop ourselves from thriving. We stop ourselves from sleeping well. We give ourselves complexes and issues and so many other things. So, I wanted to say to anybody who is holding on to some anger and resentment, maybe from your childhood and onward, maybe from your childhood, maybe people told you you were ugly and you were stupid, nobody liked you, maybe you were abandoned by a parent, maybe you were never accepted, okay? Maybe they didn't accept you, but that's their loss. But as an adult, I had to come into that space to stop letting my past control my present. And that's what will happen. Vices will take over. And because we can't do anything about our past, then you start to do some harmful things to yourself. Maybe not eating like you should. Maybe you stop caring about how you put yourself together, or not doing the things that you should so that you can be healthy and happy. And anybody who needs some help, please reach out to a therapist, a psychiatrist, a counselor, an accountability partner, and get well. Remember how valuable and important you are. I know that this narrative is not spoken of much on social media, but I want you all to know that my well-being matters. Know you are valuable. Know you have a reason and a purpose. But when we go through situations in our life where we didn't get the support, we didn't get the love, we couldn't talk about things were hidden, and we were emotionally, mentally, physically, sexually abused. And those are some really heavy and hard things to carry. Those are heavy burdens for us to handle and cope with on a day-to-day basis. But I want you to know you don't have to hide it. You can talk about it with the right people, with a trusted person, with a trusted therapist. And I can't tell you the relief that I have gotten, the freedom that I have gotten. A weight has come off of my head, off of my heart. I stopped feeling like I had to be strong. I had to hide these secrets from my childhood, hide these secrets of things that happened to me, and it has nothing to do with me. But we're taking on all of those issues into our adulthood. And of course, that's the reason why you can't sleep. It's the reason why we gain weight and we have health issues, because we're holding on to all of these things. And I'm telling you, let yourself be free from it. Let yourself be free from it. Give yourself the permission to say, I need to talk to somebody about this. No matter what it is, it may be something insignificant to another person, but if it's important to you, if it's something that's stopping your well-being, if it's stopping your peace of mind, if it's stopping you from your joy, stopping you from living your life with freedom and peace, if you feel triggered in this life, if you feel fearful still, you have anxiety towards life, and that's something that I just recently made a video, and because I'm going to put it out there, but I'm just going to touch on this for a little bit. Because of my issues from my childhood and past relationships that were awful and traumatic, I developed anxiety. And I'm going to be talking about that on my other channel, Life with Marlene. I've made a video and I think it's going to come out tomorrow. So if you guys want further details on that, tune in tomorrow on that channel. But I wanted to say, if anybody is dealing with some anxiety, for me, it was paralyzing. And it was worse after the C-19, because I got so used to the fear and being by myself that being in a crowd again was like, I had to have the panic attacks. I felt like my chest was closing up. It was doing a lot of things to me. And I can't speak of the impact on other people, but I'm speaking honestly on the impact it had on me. I was fearful to get out and enjoy life again, and that just can't happen. I said, I need to talk to somebody again. So from time to time, I tap in. I have my therapist and I go to my sessions and I say, you know what, right now I'm having I feel like I can't breathe. And she looked at me. She's like, honey, you sound like you have anxiety. And sometimes we'll just feel like, oh, I'm really tired or I'm stressed out. And you could be dealing with something that is a major issue, something that's a medical issue that you cannot control and deal with on your own. You need some assistance. So I wanted to put that out there as well. You don't have to struggle in this life on your own. Yes, I'm a person that I live with anxiety every day. And some days I do really good and some days I don't. But that's a part of my human experience. But I'm woman enough to say, I have this issue. I need help. And then I seek it so that I can be my best, so I can be happy. And I know what I need to do in order to have my peace of mind, to have my joy. So I say that to you all too. If you feel like there's something that you need help with, it doesn't have to be social anxiety. It doesn't have to be an alcohol problem. It could be anything. But if you feel like there's something that a vice that you have, maybe it could be food, an addiction to food, or maybe you deal with depression on a regular basis. That's something that if you just feel like, oh, I feel sad all the time, we sometimes will say, oh yeah, I can get over it. And we think that we're stronger than our issue. And it's not for us to handle alone. And, I'm speaking this out of friendship, out of counseling, and out of love. Don't think that you have to be strong all the time. I did that for many, many years. I felt like I had to be strong for everybody. You got to be strong for your parents, and you got to be strong when you're in a relationship. You have to be strong on the job. But it's okay to be human. It's okay to be a woman. It's okay to be a man and say, I have real-time issues. I have things that has happened to me that has hurt me, that's given me a complex, that's made me feel sad, and it's time for me to talk about it so that I can be my best. And that's what I want for all of you. I want you to feel like it's okay. And for many people, they grew up feeling that it's not okay, that it's weird if I talk about how I feel, especially going to a therapist. I'm weird. And you're not weird. You're human. And life is hard. There's some really tough situations that people go through. It's some really traumatic things that we see and deal with. So don't feel that you have to be strong all the time. You know, your strength comes in acceptance, accepting this is what happened to me. Not that it's okay. We're not saying that it's okay when we talk about it, but we're saying that I'm not going to let my situation hurt me any longer. Situation have power over me and control and get me to stop from being my best and being happy. So I hope that anybody who is feeling overwhelmed, if you feel overwhelmed by problems, the pain in your head, the pain in your heart, sadness, difficulty, if you feel like you're struggling with something, please talk to somebody. You know, even if you feel like I'm not ready to talk to a therapist yet, it's okay. But talk to somebody that you can trust. You have to get some support. That's what's important, is getting support. You have to get support when you're going through situations in your life. You have to be supported, because when you don't feel supported, then you start thinking those wild thoughts like, maybe I shouldn't be here. And then you may try to attempt to unalive yourself. And I would never want to see anybody try to unalive themselves because of situations from your past, that maybe things that you have done, maybe things that other people have said to you, or real issues that is happening to you in your life. We sometimes feel like we have to be so strong. We have to be all of these things for everybody, and we can't be okay. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to say, I need to talk to somebody. It's okay to say, I have been through this. This has happened to me. I have been a victim of this or that. And instead of picking up some alcohol, instead of smoking, instead of having a food addiction, instead of buying things to fill a need or to make me feel loved, I'm going to talk about my issues. I'm going to be woman enough or man enough to say, I got a problem. Hey, Eastad, how are you doing? Welcome in. Happy Monday. Happy new week. Shout out to my mods. Shout out to my channel members. If you all want to join membership, I do member-only live streams and special things just for the members. So shout out to my members. But I wanted to say this to everybody. If you or somebody you know has a problem, if you or somebody that you know needs some help, please talk to someone that you can trust. Hi, it's Lisa Farming. How are you doing? Welcome in. I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. You don't have to cope with all of your issues, all of everything on your own. I want you all to know that. This life is set up, that there's people in this life that are here waiting to help you. You don't have to feel sad. You don't have to be crying all the time. You don't have to feel lonely. You don't have to feel depressed all the time. There's things that can help us, and we don't have to turn to the bottle. Don't have to turn to a substance. You don't have to turn to other things in order for us to feel happy and whole. And I want you all to know that as a woman or as a man, you can be whole, you can be happy, you can be healthy, but it does take some work. It does. It takes some work for us to put on our oxygen mask. And for many, many years, I didn't put my oxygen mask on. I didn't feel like what I was dealing with, anybody wanted to hear about it. And I would hide certain things. I would hide the traumatic things that was happening within my family, because I came from a very dysfunctional family. Not that my family didn't love me, but they didn't communicate. They didn't want to talk about things that they were going through and dealing with. And you were supposed to hide things and act like everything was perfect. And it was not perfect. I didn't come from a perfect family. And I don't think anybody everybody does. But when there's real issues that you have from your childhood, if you don't face them from your childhood, you're going to bring those issues into every other aspect of your life. You're going to bring it into your job performance. You're going to bring it into your romantic relationship, into your friendships. You're going to bring it into how you treat yourself. You're going to have probably anger issues. A lot of things can happen to us when we don't allow ourselves to confront what has hurt us, harmed us, and traumatized us. Nolan's girl says, I had trouble communicating with family and relationships. Yes, it's very difficult to talk about certain things, especially maybe when you didn't see in your home environment healthy communication. And let's talk about this and let's get through it. Like, it was more convenient, at least how I grew up, and if something was going on, you ignored it. You know, just, I don't want to talk about it. And you would get angry if someone would try to bring it up, because that would cause you to feel, and you didn't want to feel the pain. So for me, I thought it was okay to just ignore the problem, and ignoring the problem just makes more problems. It certainly does. So I want you all to know that don't ignore a situation. Don't ignore pain. Don't ignore how you're feeling. And I want to say this to somebody who has not been told it. When I went to therapy, it was the first time my therapist told me that my feelings were valid. Oh, that's awesome, East. Hey, Faith with Rachel, how are you doing? If this wasn't me, ignoring the problems. Yeah, and that's what many people do. You know, I know that many people, they go through things in their life and they just feel like, oh, I don't want to talk about it. And if somebody brings up, I don't want to talk about it, and you'll get angry. But you should feel comfortable speaking about certain situations with the right people. I don't mean everybody, because there are people who are, it's not a safe zone for you to be able to be open and to talk about what you're going through and dealing with. I want you all to know that as well. So I just wanted to have this conversation because I think it's so important. There's many things that people do and they're crying out for help. Like I said, substance abuse, alcohol abuse, food addiction, sexual addiction, hoarding, pornography. There's a lot of things that people will do, and you don't even realize what you're doing is a product of hidden issues from your past, unresolved issues and traumas and all of those things. And even some things is just our own personal issues, just product of living on this earth. We go through things, we see things, abandonment issues, so on and so forth. Sometimes imbalances in our mental, in our cognitive, you know. So it's that too. So if anybody feels like my mental health is not in a good space, talk to somebody. Talk to somebody you know. Talk to somebody you trust. It's okay. You know, for a really long time, I remember having this big complex, like having this big ego. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm okay. And you're walking around like nothing is wrong with you. But as soon as somebody says something to you, you get angry, you're popping off, you're screaming, you're cussing people out, and they did nothing to you. So, you know, we have to come to the realization, if you have an anger problem, if you have a problem communicating, if you have an issue with certain vices of that I've mentioned, maybe you may want to check out and talk to a therapist. I know it's not the most comfortable thing, that we don't want to admit that we may need some help in talking to somebody. And sometimes it's not even us that the issue stems from. Sometimes that issue that it stems from is the issues from your parents or your siblings or your relative or your past relationships or your childhood experiences, things that happened to you in school, you know, being disappointed or abandoned. There's a lot of reasons why we can get into these vices and these addictions. And I want you all to know that you're not alone. You're not alone in any of it. Don't give up. Keep on trying, keep on fighting. I want you all to know that there is hope, and there is hope for you. Anybody who is feeling depressed, feeling that they're worthless, feeling like they're nothing, keep your head up. Talk to somebody, get support. I'm telling you, it has been life changing being a part of a support group. When I have many good days, but when I have my bad days, I really have those bad days when I feel so sad I don't even want to get out of bed, when I'm missing my mom, my dad, and a close friend that passed away um due to a situation that, you know, I'm still not ready to talk about it, but, you know, they were unalived because of a situation, and it's still hard for me to talk about. But things like that happen to us, when things happen in our life, just the day to day of life, trying to pay bills and trying to be responsible, but we get burnt out sometimes. And just to cope with life, maybe you say, like, I'll just have a little sip of this, I'll just smoke a little bit of that, I'll take a little bit of this pill, it will take the edge off. And next thing, you can't stop, and you need a little more and a little more. Or maybe it's not even any of those things, but maybe you just don't feel good about yourself, you know, growing up with certain issues, not getting the support, or even just expectation postponed. Maybe you didn't expect your life to be the way that it is, maybe because of relationships and how it didn't pan out how you want to. I can speak on that all day long. You expected certain things. Maybe you expected that by this time you were going to have your family, things were going to be well, you were going to be healthy. Maybe you developed a health problem, and you just don't feel good about your life, and you're just very unhappy. I want to anybody who is feeling unhappy, maybe you're thinking some wild thoughts, you have to talk about those things, and you have to gain support. There's so many groups on the internet, and it doesn't have to be an in-person thing. There's support groups on Instagram, on Facebook, on so many different social media sites that you can join in, and it's a supportive space. Because I know sometimes there are times where I don't know what to say, but I just know that I'm not in a good space. And then when you hear somebody else talking, whether it's depression, whether it's grief support, whether it's whatever the situation, there are support groups for every single issue that there is in this life. Just join one. They're free to join. I'm always going to advocate into your spiritual side, to whatever it is that you believe in. There's no judgments over here, but tap into whatever it is that you believe in and get the support. You know, and maybe your support is a prayer away. Your support may be a deep breath away. Your support may be speaking some positive affirmations over your life. And that's something that I want to do before I end this conversation. Anybody in the sound of my voice that is not feeling encouraged right now, I want to speak over your life right now and let you know you are somebody. I am worthy. I am important. I am somebody important. Know your worth, everybody. And I understand that there we don't feel, you don't feel like you have worth, like you're important, you're struggling, your mental health is lacking, you feel sad. I want you to know that it's okay to cry. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be like nothing isn't wrong. And I understand, I get it that you have to be strong for certain people, maybe for your children, maybe for other people who depend on you, but you cannot be there for other people if you don't fill up your own cup. Fill up your own cup first so that you can be your best. You got to fill up your own cup and love on yourself. And if you need some support, if you need to talk to somebody, then do that. Somebody that you can trust, that's not going to go and spread all your business to everybody. But I wanted to have this conversation to let you all know, check in on yourself. Be honest with yourself. Fill up your cup, whether that's self-care, whether that's getting out in nature, whether it's taking a vacation, speaking to a therapist, a friend, or doing some things that you need to do. Sometimes our mental health is not in the best position because we're saying yes too often. And you may need to be saying no so that you can say yes to yourself. That's a lesson that I have had to learn recently, learning to say no to them so that I can say yes to me. And if we don't say no to other people, we can't fill up our cup. We can't walk in our purpose. We can't love on ourselves. We will lose respect for ourselves. We won't be our own friends. All of those things happen when we're not honest. So I'm asking you, I'm pleading, I'm begging for you to be honest with yourself today. And if there's something that you need to do, take out a pen and paper. Start journaling how you feel, but you can't hold it in. You have to release it. And I want to say to you all, give yourself the permission to let go. That's a part of the healing process. Allow yourself to let go. I had to speak that over my life when I started therapy. I give myself permission to heal from this. I give myself permission. Me. And I say that to you all. It's your time to be strong for yourself. And if you need some help, whatever it is, no judgments, okay? Whatever it is, and you need some help, please take care of yourself. Hey Blaze, how are you doing? I'm gonna like that. I thank you so much for your super sticker. Blaze says, I'm going to catch the playback. Excellent message. And I appreciate all those who watch my playbacks. Thank you so much for your support as always. Hey Butter Roll, how are you doing? Welcome. And I wanted to say to everybody who is in the sound of my voice, love on yourself, respect yourself, know your boundaries, okay? Know your boundaries. Know when you've had enough. Know when you've had enough. And when you've had enough, when you get sick and tired of being sick and tired, you're going to do something about it. Love on yourself. Respect yourself. And I have to say this, set your own boundaries. There's many times where we don't set boundaries and we know we need to. We know we don't like that. We know we can't afford it. We know, and you're trying to keep up with the Joneses and you're trying to keep up with everybody, but you're not putting on your own oxygen mask. You're not loving on yourself. Do that for yourself. Nobody is an island. Everybody needs somebody to lean on and support them. Everybody needs someone to support them. Everybody needs someone to love on them. Everybody needs somebody that they can vent with. Make sure you have your people that you can vent with, people that you can trust. And if you don't, find some. Sometimes the people that you can find are people online. It does not have to be a person in person, because let me tell you something, the people that are around you can be the most toxic people. Your relative, your friends, all of these people that will always talk about how much they love us, but at the end of the day, they will do nothing for you to support you. Hey Don, how are you doing? Welcome. I appreciate you being here. Thank you for coming in. I'm just about to get out of here. But I definitely wanted to say to every single one of you, if you need help, if you need support, if you need friendship, if you need a therapist, if you need a friend, reach out and get what you need. You don't have to be strong for everybody. We have to know our own limits. Know your limits. Know your boundaries. And I want you all to know you are more than enough. Even if other people around you don't appreciate you, don't let other people make you feel inferior. Don't eat off of their negativity. Don't let that fill you up. You got to fill up your own self, okay? Oh, okay, Butterroll, I sure will. You have to fill up your own cup. You have to fill up your own cup. It's our responsibilities as grown women and men to fill up our own cups. If you feel hollow inside, if you feel pain, if you feel hurt, if you feel sadness, you got to get to the root, because you got to value yourself. You got to respect yourself. Know your worth, everybody. Love yourself, respect yourself, and to anybody who is here, I appreciate every single one of you. And if you're not feeling good here, in your heart, in your spirit, in your soul, do something about it. Have enough courage. Be strong enough to say, I got to take care of me. I got to love on me. I got to respect me, because I'm valuable. Even if other people don't value you, that does not matter. It's about ourself, putting on our own oxygen mask, protecting our peace of mind. Protect your peace. Protect your peace. It's valuable, you know. It's a precious commodity, and you are precious too. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of you. Hi, Curious MV. Welcome. I'm about to get out of here. Please check out the replay. I'm sending you all well wishes, peace, joy, positive vibes only, all of those things. Hi, Miss Tamika. I'm just about to get out of here. Please catch the replay. You guys have a great rest of your day, and think about some of the things that I talked about today. I hope it's something that gets your mind, get your wheels turning, and put it into action. I know that it's not easy, okay? I know that it's not easy. It's not easy to love yourself. It's not easy to set boundaries, but it's valuable. Stepping into your own shoes and feeling good about yourself is worth every decision. It's worth every bit of being uncomfortable. It's worth all of it. Know you're valuable. Know you're important, and respect yourself. I'm Marlene of Marlene Motivates, and you've tuned into your dose of positivity. Thank you so much for joining. If you have not hit the like, those who are watching on the replay, thank you so much. Please leave me a comment in the comment section below. If there's anything that has been helpful to you, I'd love to hear about it. And you know what we say over here. Just know it, just breathe it, and be it, and live your best life. I will see you all back on Friday. Bye, guys. Shout out to my mods. Shout out to my channel members. I appreciate every single one of you. Everybody have a great rest of your Monday and a great rest of your week. I'll see you guys back on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But I know for sure on Saturday, it's going to be very exciting. I'm going to have some guests coming up for a go live together on a topic. It has already been set up. It's going to be Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you're going to find out what we're talking about. It's going to be a very inspiring and motivating conversation. So make sure you tune in. I'll see you guys back for that. And this is Marlene Motivates, your motivator, your inspire, your mindset shifter. I believe in you. Now believe in yourself. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.